Okay, folks. Oh, this is a pick up from where we last finished, when we were waiting for the Secretary of State to make his decision on how the reorganisation of Suffolk with its district, borough and county councils would be undertaking. And the decision we received was that it will be split into 3, but that will necessitate breaking up existing district council geography.
I think on our previous one we did show the map, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Well, hopefully you didn't. Perhaps you could show it again, actually.
Right.
Now that we've got it. So hopefully there'll be a map included in this little podcast, and we'll see what we're doing. And I suppose it's a question of where we go from here, and what the sort of getting to a reorganised 3 unitary authorities, how on a timescale that will take place. And so we're going to have to step back a little bit. You may be aware that Suffolk County Council applied to be a fast-track council, which is why this is all being done in a bit of a hurry. Yeah.
You could say that, yes.
And equally, you may be aware a critical part in this new unitary authority, particularly for ourselves, Suffolk and Norfolk, was that we would be electing a mayor across both counties to effectively replace the police and crime commissioner, to drive the reorganised integrated care boards for health and social care, and he or she would be the driving force, providing pressure, I suppose.
Well, transport as well, isn't it? Yeah.
So it would be roads, it would be rail, it would be business,
police.
It would control the police.
Yeah.
So quite a lot. And strangely, within the organisation, we now have told Suffolk will become, which is 3 unitaries. One of the reasons supposedly for that decision being made was they wish to have a parity of people on the committee advising the mayor. So it's going to be supposedly 1 or 2 from each authority who would, if you like, be a cabinet working along with the mayor to deliver the needs
across Suffolk
of the region and the individual towns within Suffolk and Norfolk.
Yeah, but us here, we're going. Woodbridge goes into foreign parts, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, it does.
And our
well, no, I think Woodbridge effectively sort of stays within the area that was Suffolk Coastal. The folks that are going into foreign parts is Felixstowe, Martlesham, Kesgrave and Hadley, because they're being removed from their district councils that they've been in since 1974.
We're agreeing, but I'm just saying that we're the home, and
I see.
They're the foreigners.
Yeah, well, they are.
But Woodbridge is going to go into another council area, and our friends now will be Hadley, which lovely place.
Yeah.
Hadley, and then Ipswich, and a bit underneath Ipswich, and us. Isn't it going to be basically?
Yeah, but you got Martlesham and you got Keswick.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you've done, you've taken wards out of 3 district councils, and you've added them on to Ipswich. So Ipswich will be in the middle, looking out to and whatever.
Okay. I should have said us and the Orwell village group, and
all the way up,
and Hadley and Ipswich. And the village is underneath Ipswich down to the Essex border.
So that's what's going to be happening, and the structure is a little odd, really, on reflection. There will be this May a county council election for a proper county council, 70 odd councillors to be elected. But what is rather odd is the decision on what the new unit has already been taken, and the key function of both the district and the county over the last 18 months or so, was to decide where the unitary boundaries would be, and that decision has already been made by the Secretary of State on the 27th of March. So I can see that the County Council will need to be cooperative with the three unitaries that will replace it.
It will only last 2 years.
Yeah, but I think the concern is if you're going to have an election now, and you're going to have a whole stack of new folk who've got very little knowledge of what's preceded it, I think there's going to be quite a difficulty in what are they going to do and how are they going to learn.
That's a big worry, you know. And this is where the locals should be absolutely aware of the fact that with the upset, chaos and distress amongst voters, etc. If they was to, for example, choose, I'm going to say reform, but if they would choose reform, they are going to have 50 councillors that are novices or fail.
Well, they could well be Tories.
But they'll be
could be Tory or darker blue.
Failed Tories, and they're going to have to manage. I don't think people realise they're going to have to manage where the education is, where the social services are, where any health, roads and everything. And yet they're going to be, the danger is that they're going to be novices. And putty in the hands of officials. And they're just...
But let's just share... So there we come. So now in May we're going to have county council elections. In both Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex, and the whole thing is churning. But then a year later you're going to have a shadow election for the unitary boundaries that will be the new succeeding council, delivering all your services under one hat, and that's fine. But we've already noticed here on the Felixstowe Peninsula that possibly decisions are being made ahead of what's going to be a complete, and it's not a small reorganisation, it's massive. The budget this year removed a considerable sum from it that was earmarked in East Suffolk District Council's budget for a new leisure centre to replace the existing leisure centre we have. Now, probably one of the reasons that's been removed is the three landowners have yet to sign a heads of agreement on how this will be developed, which is very unfortunate, you know.
But it's
either get on the pot or do the biz.
It's 50 million that was sitting under the Felixstowe and the Orwell villages and that area, and including Ipswich, I think, the part of Ipswich anyway. The idea was that the leisure centre was going to sort of encompass all of it. See, with that 50 million, it's moved into Lowestoft.
No, it's just been taken out of the budget.
Well, gone. It's gone out of...
But I think what we're both saying is...
We've lost 50 million. Felixstowe and our area around Felixstowe has lost 50 million. As a result of... That's just one.
As a result of a project that should have been progressing, isn't progressing. That's why it's been removed from the budget.
Yes, but it's...
So, but this is the point. The next budget, certainly the one after that, will be overseen by an elected shadow authority, which will be the new Unitary. And that's my concern. Because, as we were saying, we're going to take a number of wards out of effectively Suffolk, what was Suffolk Coastal, to add to Ipswich Borough. And the same thing will be happening at Bayber and Mid Suffolk. So you're going to get these bits added onto it. And what I've been asking and really not getting much of an answer yet is, how are we going to assure that the assets that are held in common between what was Waveney Borough District Council and Suffolk Coastal, which is still sort of merged or merging, yes.
Mm.
How are they going to be redistributed within the new unitary authorities?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big question to be asked with regards to the benefits.
Yeah. Well, I could ask you a question then.
Yeah,
Where are the two? Let's just take out East Suffolk,
yeah.
and we're in Felixstowe. What part of our area will keep any of the headquarters of the existing council?
Well, my bet is other than there isn't really any district headquarter buildings in our bit. The headquarter
Yes.
it was at Melton.
So decision makers have got offices in Woodbridge, which is going to be in the new
In Melton,
park,
yeah.
and in Lowestoft,
Yeah.
which is the new park. And so, who's going to think of poor old Felixstowe and Orwell villages? I hasten
That's
to
right.
add.
Well,
Yes,
it's whichever unitary,
Yes.
whichever shadow unitary
Yeah.
councillors you elect,
Yes.
but they will be one of a big number.
Yeah.
So I think we need to, as the reorganisation is going underway, we need to be looking as far as we can to protect the interest of the Felixstowe Peninsula
yes, because-
and Moultrie and the whole bit.
Because I only know about the Lib Dem side, but the Lib Dem councillors are mentioning the fact that they are concerned that money is being, shifted.
Was shifted money.
Investment money, it's
Yes,
not
well,
actual money.
it's
The
long-term,
investment investment programs are all moving up towards Lowestoft, are all moving past us into Woodbridge and up to Lowestoft.
Well, it would be quite good to see,
Yeah.
wouldn't it, from the combined authority of Suffolk Coastal and Waveney, say over the last 5 years, what community investments have been made where, from a point of view of the fact that the only one that we were likely to have got was a new leisure centre, and now that seems to be fading away. Now, it may well come to pass, but if it does, it will be in this year. And what really worries me in the next budget, that budget may well be subject to an oversight by a much wider area, which will include Hadley, Ipswich, Moultrie, etc. So we're a little worried to ensure that Felixstowe, I suppose, which has been impacted by.
When we say Felixstowe, we mean the peninsula.
We mean all of that area,
Yeah.
the villages in Felixstowe and the peninsula. It's really the fact that we suffered quite a major reorganisation when Suffolk Coastal was joined to Waveney. Now we've got East Suffolk, which is getting there. What is perverse, dear viewer, is the fact that we will move from a council that is looking after a limited number of services for something like 270,000 folk, yes? And we're going to be moving to one that will be something like 230,000, but that particular council will be charged to delivering all the services that you expect of a council. That is education, social care, highways, a whole plethora of stuff. So they've got to go and find heads of services for all of those. So it is a massive reorganisation that's coming at you, and we will do the best that we can over the forthcoming months. But you need to be aware when you vote in this next election that you're invited to put your cross in a little box as to making sure perhaps that Felixstowe has representation that is there for the interest of Felixstowe and actually has some knowledge about what has happened over the last several decades rather than the last several months.
It really mustn't be amateur night, because I've seen it before in the 70s when we had a previous change, that you get the amateur night and the officers virtually
run it. Yeah. And I'm sure that
and things that are, they run to a different set of rules to what ordinary folk would. That's all.
Yeah. Well, you really want elected councillors
Yeah.
to represent you rather than
Properly.
Westminster,
Yeah.
don't you? Anyway, folks, that's the state of play as of the 17th of April, 2026 already. And I did calculate the claim with regards to the current agreed 3 unitary councillors approved by the Secretary of State. I need to live until 2033, possibly 34, to see whether the claimed benefits, financial and organisational, will be delivered. Because they're saying by that time, what this change that's now being acted will start to show a reduction in cost and an improvement in services. So hope to do this again in 2033.